All right, let's dive into something you probably deal with all the time, but maybe don't think about in this way. Insurance. Now I know, it sounds like just another bill you have to pay, right? But it's so much more. It's really this invisible engine that lets people build businesses, buy homes, and bring huge ideas to life. So today, we're going to break down the key functions that make it all work.
Okay, let's imagine something. You've got this dream. You want to open your own bookstore. You found the perfect spot. You've even got a business plan ready to go. But then, this thought creeps in. What if there's a fire or a flood? What if everything you've worked for is just gone, overnight? That one fear, that risk of a massive loss, is what can stop a brilliant idea dead in its tracks. So how do we solve that?
Well, the answer to that problem lies in the single most important idea in this whole field, the primary function of insurance. This is the bedrock concept that everything else is built on. If you get this one thing, everything else we're going to talk about today will click into place. And here it is, the spread of risk. This is the absolute genius of insurance in one sentence. You trade a small, known cost, that's your premium, for protection against a huge, unknown, and potentially devastating loss. Think of it like a community fund. It lets the unfortunate losses of a few people be paid for by the small contributions of many, many people. So how does that actually work in practice? Well, it's a really simple but powerful three-step process. First, you get thousands of people, like our bookstore owner, who all pay a small, manageable premium. All those premiums get collected into one massive central pool of money. Then, when one of those people has a major unexpected loss, like a fire, the money from that giant pool is used to pay for it and get them back on their feet. Simple, right? But it's what makes everything else possible.
So, once we have that foundation of shared risk, you can really start to see how insurance helps build things in the real world. Knowing you're protected gives you the confidence to take those next big steps. And that leads us right into some crucial secondary functions. First up, it aids security. And we're not just talking about a warm, fuzzy feeling here. This peace of mind is a real economic tool. Because our entrepreneur has insurance, she can now sign that 5-year lease on her building. She can invest in thousands of dollars worth of books, and she can hire employees. That crushing fear of a total loss is gone. It turns what would be a wild gamble into a manageable, calculated risk.
And that security, it directly leads to the next function, aiding credit. You ever really stop and think why you can't get a mortgage without home insurance? This is why. Would a bank really lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars for a house if that entire investment could literally go up in smoke the next day? No way. Insurance is what guarantees the lender that their investment is safe. So no insurance, no credit. It really is that simple.
Okay, so we know insurance pays for losses after they happen. But what's even better than paying for a loss? Yeah, preventing it from ever happening in the first place. And this is where the industry gets really proactive and honestly pretty fascinating. See, it's a perfect win-win situation. Insurers have a huge financial reason to make the world a safer place. They actually fund research into fire prevention. They offer discounts to reward safe drivers. And they even support programs that help reduce hail damage. Why? Well, because a world with fewer fires and fewer accidents means fewer claims they have to pay. It's a business model where making society safer is also what makes them more profitable. Pretty cool.
Now let's zoom out. We've been talking about one bookstore, but the impact of this industry is way, way bigger. The insurance industry as a whole creates this massive ripple effect that's felt across the entire economy.
So what happens to all that money in those giant premium pools? It doesn't just sit in a bank vault collecting dust. It gets put to work. It becomes fuel for the economy. And this is the part I think is incredible. Insurance companies are some of the biggest investors out there. That premium you pay for your car insurance, it could be helping to fund the construction of a new hospital or a tech startup or a major infrastructure project. They're like the silent partners in our country's growth.
And beyond just providing capital, the industry provides jobs. A lot of jobs. I mean, just look at this number. In 2020 alone, the property and casualty side of the insurance industry directly employed over 130,000 people in Canada. That's a huge part of our workforce.
And it's an incredibly diverse field of work, too. We're talking about careers for everybody from the math geniuses we call actuaries to on-the-ground investigators, tech specialists, lawyers, risk managers, you name it. It takes a huge range of skills to keep this whole thing running.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, from that core idea of spreading risk all the way to the huge economic footprint of the industry. So, you think you've got it? Let's do a quick knowledge check to lock in what we've learned.
Okay, question number 1.
What is the single, foundational, primary function of insurance? Is it A, providing capital, B, spreading the risk, C, aiding credit, or D, promoting loss prevention?
And the correct answer is, of course, B, spreading the risk. Remember, that's the core idea. All those other amazing functions we talked about, they're secondary, and they all flow from this one central concept.
Question 2. Which function explains why a bank insists you have home insurance before they'll give you a mortgage? Is that A, providing employment, B, aiding security, C, aiding credit, or D, promoting loss prevention? Yep, the answer is C, aiding credit. That insurance policy is the bank's safety net. It protects their investment, which gives them the confidence they need to lend you that huge sum of money in the first place. All right, number 3. When an insurance company offers you a discount on your premium because you have an anti-theft alarm in your car, what function is that an example of? A, B, C, or D? The answer there is D, loss prevention. By giving you that discount, the insurer is giving you a financial reward to make your car safer, which reduces their chance of a loss. It's a win for everybody. And our last question. When an insurer takes all those collected premiums and invests them back into the Canadian economy, which secondary function is that an example of? And the correct answer is B, providing capital. This is where insurance goes beyond just being a safety net and becomes a major engine for building and growing the entire economy. So there you have it. It all starts with one simple idea, sharing risk. But the functions of insurance ripple out to provide security, enable credit, promote safety, and literally fuel our economy. It really is a hidden engine running in the background of our lives. Which leads me to a final question for you to think about. Now that you see how all these pieces connect, which one of these functions do you think is the most underrated or overlooked in our day-to-day lives?